My name is Angela Sheets, and I did a walkthrough at Evans Middle School. We host grades 6 through 8 and have a student population of about 350 per graduating class. At Evans Middle School, we've been working very hard at building a positive climate and culture. We've been doing a lot of work with social contracts to enhance the relationship building and the rapport between students and teachers, as well as students to students and adult to adult relationships. You'll see in every classroom social contracts, such as my example from my classroom here. This has been ongoing work since I started here in January, for sure. We have been engaged in a lawsuit in our district, and as a result of that, we are trying to break down barriers between our diverse populations, and we are trying to improve communication and relationships across the board. You'll notice signage like the picture on the right around hallways, classroom doors, where teachers are using crickets to present their own creative way of positive attitudes, as well as posters and signage that have been purchased by the district that are being posted throughout the building. Another thing that I noticed throughout the building that was consistent was that many of the classrooms are displaying student work in the hallways with pride. And in the beginning, this was not something that middle schoolers were comfortable with. That was just too personal for them. And I've noticed that since January, that we see more and more work being displayed with pride. Many of the pieces that you see pictured here were part of advisory lessons that we are doing 2 days a week to improve our climate and culture. These lessons have to do with respecting one another, verbal and nonverbal cues. They also have to do with diversity, and each month we have a different theme for our lessons. And this work is being done in the adult PLCs during professional development. So as much work as we're doing with our students to improve climate and culture, the teachers are also coming up with their own social contracts, and they are coming up with rules or policies that need changed to add structure to our culture. Outside of advisory, within our core subjects, I did see evidence of deep learning and structure. Many of our classrooms are showcasing learning from their direct instruction and their units. In this particular classroom, the theme was change, and it ranged from stories from change, changing perspectives, how do we determine change, internal or external forces, physical or emotional, and this was from an English classroom in 6th grade. Here are more examples from within the classroom of student learning. On the left, this science classroom was showcasing student-created images defining rock cycles, convection currents, and boundaries. And on the right, from a social studies classroom, all of the handprints that you see here were connecting geography, culture, government, and economy with student experiences or student learnings. We have a very diverse population in our building. In our district, we have approximately 27 different languages being spoken by our students. Several of our English classrooms did have designated reading areas. You can see here we have some flexible seating. We have thematic units being displayed. We do have images around the reading areas of diverse populations, as well as book sets on diversity, different themes, different social topics. Literature circles are still being done in our English classrooms, and sharing out of those thematic units is common. What I did not see, however, were signs of a love of literature being shared in the other core classrooms. Math classrooms, science classrooms, social studies classrooms, for example. There was little to no evidence of book sets or other literature sets that accompany their units. Because of COVID, we have a lot more gaps, and we are filling these gaps during a math or a reading intervention time. And perhaps we don't have it in our bell schedule to offer a reading lab to every student every day. As far as print materials go, in many of the classrooms, I did see text sets that accompany their core instruction displayed around the classrooms. But we are one-to-one with student Chromebooks here in our building, and many of the print materials that we used to provide are now being shared digitally with students within their student accounts. I did not see very many textbooks in the classrooms that I did walkthroughs in, but there were small sets that accompany their core instruction that were occasionally on display. I feel that the one-to-one Chromebook deployment has dramatically decreased the amount of print materials that are being displayed or used in most classrooms in our middle school. In conclusion, building-wide, we are doing a lot of work on our culture and our climate. These advisory lessons are being done in every classroom, every Monday and Wednesday, consistently. There was evidence of deep learning and structure being displayed in classrooms 6th grade through 8th grade. And I did notice that most print materials have been replaced with workbooks, as textbooks are now online, digitally delivered through one-to-one Chromebook deployment. English classrooms are still doing a valiant effort at nurturing a love of reading, but I feel that our core classrooms may be inhibited by their bell schedule, with only 50 minutes to get in core instruction and still make time for math and reading intervention class periods throughout the day within the master schedule. I do not feel that we have time in our master schedule to provide free reading lab courses or electives to all students.